All right. So digital paint can be a lot of different things. So we're going to get started in earnest on the project, but I want to introduce to you through our links page. On our links page at the very bottom, past all of these references, right underneath the human face kind of design template, there's a link to this program that's been out for several years. It's called Rebel, but it's an experimental digital painting program. And realize that when computer programs show you how to mimic surfaces, right, there's a lot of options for them. So what's interesting is this is a watercolor simulator where, unlike real watercolor, you can just keep the water incredibly wet all the time and then just dry it all at once, right? And you can mix into it. I'll use campus colors here. And then as soon as I let go, it will start dripping and mixing. And I can blend between them. So this is how paint operates, depending on the paint you use. The difficulty of digital painting is there are lots and lots of ways to mimic physical paint. But it depends on the paint itself. It depends on how wet or dry it is, how much filler there is, how much pigment, and it depends a whole lot on what the substrate is, the material. So this is what's called cold press watercolor paper. And it has a very particular look. So you guys can feel free to play with that program. And maybe even get some nice backgrounds, some nice pixels to use in projects. But that is not how typical digital painting raster programs work. They work within programs like Photoshop. And they work in basically one of two methods. So you can build up on shapes alone, or you can build up on kind of a sketched outline of what you want, kind of a basic shape outline. Notice they'll both start on toned surfaces. So this is why we set up our painting the way we do. The first thing we do is we post our photo reference. So I am doing a horse, but not just any horse. I'm doing a sculpture by Karl Frey, a ceramicist, that I am going to add color to. So I made use of AI to get some color inspiration by taking some of Karl Frey's artwork, ceramics artwork, giving this to an AI program and saying, color it in the style of this. And then I did a little compositing. These are actually the AI ones I got. This was my final composite that I liked. So this is kind of what I'm going for. I also can find other artists. This is from a student presentation at the midterm. It can be a digital artist, it can be traditional art. I just like some of the color palette in this. So I'm going to use this image for inspiration as well as her ceramics. And I can also use some of this. So this is what we call our references. You are only required to have one photo reference, but you are required to have at least one. But it can also be kind of inspiration reference. Okay, now I'm going to open up my master folder, open up a new folder for assignment 7. I'm done with assignment 6, which was our poster. Posters are graded. You can read the comments on that, and I'm happy to help you outside of class during lab hours on finishing up any elements you might be missing. I'm going to mark assignment 7 as yellow because it's in progress. And the first things I'm going to add into that are my photo references. And I put these in Canvas from my home computer, so I need to move them to here. Now this is my hero reference, right? This unglazed horse sculpture. And then all of these, maybe I just do a screen grab of them because they're more interesting for kind of lighting. And when I just did AI some of the issues with AI, right? I only like to use AI where I can train it with images. But if I only used a prompt and no image, and I say, do a colorful glazed horse ceramic by the artist Viola Frey, this is what it gave me, which doesn't give any of her kind of abstraction to it. So then I actually fed it the sculpture. So then it gave me these kind of colorings, which I then composited together along with this to give me this. So there's lots of different reasons. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new Photoshop file. So we go to Photoshop, we say File, New, and I have the dimensions up on the board. We want this to be large enough to print at a good scale in the class. So I'm going to call it Karl Assignment 7. And this is my afternoon Viola horse. Not afternoon, morning. I'll just call it Viola horse. And make sure I'm doing it in inches. I'm going to make it 11 inches wide by 14 inches. Actually, mine's wider than it is tall. Sorry, so mine's going to be 14 inches wide by 11 inches tall. Landscape format for mine by 350 pixels per inch. This is important because it is just as hard to make a digital painting at a low resolution as at a high resolution. But a high resolution is going to give you much more output options. 350 pixels per inch. So our studio resolution. So I have 14 inches by 11 inches by 350 pixels per inch. Then I'm immediately going to put in my hero reference. And because I'm right-handed, I'm going to put my hero reference off to the right. And then I can bring in these other references. Maybe they're a little smaller, just compositing them, dragging them in. What are these good for? These are to steal color from and get kind of lighting ideas from. And they come in as smart objects. And we just kind of fit them around the edges. Just like if we were doing this on a drafting table, we might tack these photos up around it. And then this one I'm just going to tuck into this corner just to steal some colors. So just like we did for digital coloring, you might steal colors, color palettes, or stylizations, right? Now I have kind of this area to make a painting, but before I do that, I need to set it up. I'm going to select all of those reference images, put them into a folder, mark that folder red, call it reference, because that will get turned off at the end, right? And now my background, I'm going to double click it, call it blank white, just like we did for digital coloring, and then lock it. And I'm also going to lock my references. Now, while it's still bright white, I'm going to show you the speed painting method or the shape painting method. Just really basic. So this is the first method I show right here. Just filling in the shape. It's also what I show on, not that one, but the exhaustive explanation. Oh, I'm in incognito mode, so I'll do it this way. So this one, on the digital painting primer, right, with the fruit examples right there. So this is the kind of shape painting start. And we're going to be, just like this kiwi, we're going to be real basic. So we make a new layer, and I'm going to call this Shape Paint. Keep it unlocked. Go to my brush tool. Going to go to my brush options and go to our most basic brush that is pressure sensitive. So it's called the hard round pressure brush. The last time I showed you this was to do digital inking in Photoshop or Photopea, right? And just like that, we're going to look at the settings and we're going to make sure it's 100% opacity, 100% flow with 0% smoothing. So that's different than when we did in digital inking, because we don't want there to be any delay. Then I want to click here on the options for the brush, and I want to make it pretty large, around 400 pixels. And I'm going to make its hardness about 70%. That's just at the edges. So if I paint with the default black, it would look like this, right? But we're not going to paint with black. Notice how it's pressure sensitive with your tablet. I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm looking at my hero here, and I'm just going to try to block in those shapes. It's the kill whitey phase, right? Get rid of that white. Fill it with pixels at 100% opacity. So that's kind of a base color. I can do highlights. But I'm not interested in filling it with these neutral colors, right? I'm interested in some of these more interesting colors. Almost expressionistic. So this helps me start to build up this palette that I might want to use in the stylization. Some of the colors are lighter, some of them are darker. And I'm layering them all up at 100% opacity. And then I can see pretty quickly, yeah, the painting's going okay, but I've run out of room. And this can easily happen because that reference is taking up a lot of space. So instead of starting over, right, what can I do? I go to Image, Canvas Size, and I'm going to stretch it in inches to be bigger. I'm going to make it 14 inches tall, growing from the top down. Right? And then I'm just going to unlock my blank white layer and say Edit Fill, and fill it with white again, and then lock it. Now I can take my shape paint and I can finish it up. But my horse has, I can see 2 legs, right? This sculpture. And you'll start to get a sense of the shape language of what you're trying to paint. And it's okay, you're going to make lots of mistakes. I know I am right now. But this gets you started, gets you used to the tablet, and helps you make up a structure. Notice I'm seeing the entire surface of the canvas. I'm not zooming in. We're going to try to do all of this today without zooming in. And I'll show you why. And however bad you think it looks from out here, it's going to look even worse if we zoomed in. Because that's just how digital painting is at the beginning. I'm going to steal some of these colors, these yellows, these pinks. Trying to avoid black and solid white. And I do a lot of squinting till I kind of find where the shadows are. Now on the white background, everything's going to look really dark. Now the reason we're at 100% opacity is so that nothing gets washed out. So I'm going to zoom in just to show you. This is what it looks like. Pretty boring. Just basic flat color pixels with a slightly soft edge. Now this can be a finish technique if you're very, very observed with it. So this is just using the basic brush that we're using. But it uses it with different opacities kind of layered up in this watercolor technique. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. Right now, we're just doing this kind of thing.